Welcome to the beautiful city of Santa Fe, New Mexico. This town is coined the City Different because it is like no other in the United States. What makes Santa Fe so distinct is that it's been shaped by Pueblo native, Spanish colonial, and Mexican influences layered over the centuries. You can see it in the architecture, the food, and the art. So in this video, I'm going to show you everything you need to know about visiting Santa Fe and all the amazing things there are to do here. It's organized by neighborhood, so you can use this to help you plan your trip. Now stick around for the end. I'm going to go over some logistics and what to expect if it's your first time visiting. We're starting around the Santa Fe Plaza, which is the downtown historic district. This is the #1 area everyone needs to visit. There is so much to see here. The Central Plaza has been the center of Santa Fe for 400 years. It's surrounded by fantastic shops and restaurants, including the Five and Dime where Anthony Bourdain famously tried the Frito pie.
Oh, the world famous Frito pie.
The north edge of the plaza is called Palace Street, and this building here is the Palace of the Governors. It was built around 1610 as a seat of government for Spanish colonial New Mexico, making it the oldest continuously used public building in the country. Outside, you'll find Native Americans selling their authentic jewelry, and you can visit the inside by taking a look inside the New Mexico History Museum. It is now connected and part of the museum. Now, this museum is absolutely fantastic. It's where you can dive deeper into the centuries of history, Spanish colonial rule, the Mexican era, and the eventual shift to American territory, all told through exhibits, artifacts, and the palace's own original rooms. There's also a section upstairs dedicated to the Zozobra, which is an annual cultural event. Through the year, you can write down your glooms and put them in this box, and then during the annual celebration, all your glooms will be burned away. All of these notes get put inside Old Man Gloom, and it's burned in a huge celebration. Right across the street is the New Mexico Museum of Art. This is one of the best examples of Pueblo revival architecture in the city, and it's home to a major collection of Southwestern art, including works by George O'Keeffe and the artists who helped put Santa Fe on the map as an art colony back in the 1920s. Now, if you're into Georgia O'Keeffe, there is a museum solely dedicated to her. It's just a few blocks north. She eventually settled in Santa Fe permanently, and this museum now holds the largest collection of her work anywhere in the world. All right, now we're going to head back to the plaza, and just a block east, you will find the prominent St. Francis Basilica that was constructed between 1869 and 1886. This is a beautiful church and a grand example of Romanesque revival architecture. It's a striking contrast to the adobe buildings that surround it. On one side of the church, you can find a beautiful garden with sculptures representing the Stations of the Cross. And on the other side, you'll find Cathedral Park. It's a nice area to relax with several beautiful sculptures there as well. Across the street, you'll find the Institute of American Indian Arts Museum of Contemporary Native Arts. Now all the columns in front of this art museum are painted, which is super cute. This is the country's leading museum for exhibiting, collecting, and interpreting the most progressive work of contemporary indigenous artists. This is not historical pottery or traditional crafts behind glass. It showcases boundary-pushing painting, sculpture, film, and multimedia work by living Native artists, housed in a beautifully restored 1920s Pueblo revival building that used to be Santa Fe's Federal Post Office. Now, right here beside these buildings is the La Fonda Hotel. This location has actually been a hotel since the 1600s, and it was the very first stop for traders arriving on the Santa Fe Trail in 1821. The building you see here today was rebuilt in the 1920s. It was designed in the Pueblo Spanish Revival style that came to define Santa Fe's architecture. There are several restaurants in here, and you may enjoy a ghost tour that starts in this building as well. If you're interested in an interactive map that you can take with you on your trip to Santa Fe with all of these attractions identified, be sure and find it in the description box below this video. Now, just around the corner from the Basilica and La Fonda on the old Santa Fe Trail, you're going to find the Loretto Chapel. This is the home of the miraculous staircase. There's a famous story about a mysterious carpenter who showed up to answer the nuns' prayers and built this phenomenal staircase to reach the choir loft. What makes it so miraculous is that it makes 2 full 360-degree turns with no center support, no nails, and by some accounts, no visible means of holding itself up at all. This church now operates as a museum, and it is a fascinating place to visit. If you continue down south on this road, you're going to find a couple more sites worth noting. I'm telling you, it just never ends here in Santa Fe. You can continue south, crossing the Riverwalk by Alameda over to De Vargas, and you'll find San Miguel Chapel. This was built in the 1600s. It was actually rebuilt after being damaged in the Pueblo Revolt. It's widely considered one of the oldest churches in the United States. Now, in this building right next to San Miguel Church is the home of New Mexico TRU, the Tourism Bureau, and they actually have a Margarita Trail passport that you can purchase at the visitor center. And then you can go to all the different restaurants and try the specialty margaritas and get your passport stamped. It's a great idea to get people to go out to the local restaurants. If you don't make it to the visitor center and you still want to do that program, you can actually download the app for I think $1.99, and then you get dollar discounts on other margaritas that you order at the recognized establishments. And continuing on this historical theme of being the oldest, you can walk around the corner here and find a structure that claims to be the oldest house in the USA. It also dates back to the 1600s and was likely built on top of an even older Pueblo structure. Now, a little farther from the plaza, but just a couple more blocks away, is the state capitol. It's the only round capitol building in the entire U.S., built in 1966, and it's laid out in the shape of a Zio Pueblo sun symbol, which is the emblem on our New Mexico state flag. It's really beautiful to walk around, and it houses inside a free art collection of nearly 600 works, all by New Mexico artists, and admission is completely free. Now, I didn't specifically point anything out west of the plaza, but the whole area is great to walk around, full of shops, restaurants, and hotels. Now, I'll tell you a few more tips about staying in the plaza area, especially if this is your first time to Santa Fe. You need to stay in this area. I don't believe you're going to find a bad hotel or restaurant here. There are just some that are more expensive than others. Now, I've personally stayed at La Posada and Inn of the Governors, and I also highly recommend the Drury Inn right here as an exceptional value. And of course, La Fonda would be a great place to stay. In terms of restaurants, the Shed is a fabulous place to eat. It's in a historic building. It's so beautiful, but you're going to wait a long time. I like the Palacio Cafe, also delicious food and not as long of a wait. And the Plaza Cafe has a great selection of food. I especially love their pozole. All right, now close to the plaza, but considered its own distinct district, is Canyon Road. This is for the art lovers. Canyon Road is Santa Fe's famous gallery district. It's a narrow, winding, adobe-lined street with well over 100 galleries packed into less than a mile. You can expect everything from traditional Southwest paintings and native art to contemporary sculpture gardens tucked behind old adobe walls. There's a handful of restaurants and boutique shops mixed in as well. It is a great spot for a slow afternoon of gallery hopping. If you want to get some good views over downtown before we leave the downtown area, you can head up to the Cross of the Martyrs. You can hike up or drive up, and either way it overlooks all of downtown Santa Fe. And you're also standing on the ruins of Fort Marcy, the first U.S. military fort in the territory that was built back in 1846. But it's not visible. It's still buried under the dirt. Now we're going to head south. This is the Railyard District. It is within walking distance of the plaza. It's another area packed with restaurants, shops, and galleries, but it's also a transportation hub. The Rail Runner train that comes up from Albuquerque is found here. It's also a place where you'll find a lot of seasonal markets. You can also find the Sky Railway here. This is a scenic historic train that runs out to the small village of Lamy. And they have a variety of themed rides. The Sunset Serenade is my favorite. If you're into funky, psychedelic, larger-than-life art, Meow Wolf is a must. This interactive art installation turns a whole building into a surreal walk-through story. Part haunted house, part fun house, part fever dream. This is the original Meow Wolf. They've expanded to several cities around the country, and this one is called the House of Eternal Return. You'll find it in a neighborhood tucked away in Santa Fe's Midtown. It's not the postcard part of town, but it's convenient with plenty of budget chain hotels in the area. They do recommend you get a timed entry ticket in advance. It's a popular place, especially on weekends or holidays. Now I'm taking you a little farther away from the center of town up to Museum Hill. Now I absolutely love this area, and I would dedicate at a minimum a half day. You're going to need a car to get up to Museum Hill, or you're going to have to catch a ride. It is not within walking distance. There is a nice parking lot up here, and it is free to park. If you're coming during the summer, I would definitely start with the Botanic Gardens before it gets too hot. It's a beautiful space full of native plants, several beautiful walking paths, and lots of artwork along the way. The 4 museums you'll find up here are the Museum of International Folk Art, the Museum of Indian Arts and Culture, the Wheelwright Museum of the American Indian, and the Heritage Arts Museum. They each have a unique collection and interesting stories. I have a whole dedicated video on everything there is to see up here at Museum Hill, so I'll have that link down in the description below if you want a more detailed look at each of these museums. Just a few minutes from Museum Hill, Santa Fe changes character. The adobe gives way to pinon and junipers. The streets narrow and climb, and the city's edge quietly dissolves into the foothills of the Sangre de Cristo Mountains. This is the Randall Davey Audobon Center. It's a 135-acre bird sanctuary. It's one of the best birdwatching spots in the state, with over 220 species recorded across its meadows, orchards, and pine forest. You can find hummingbirds swarming the feeders right outside the visitor center. There are free guided bird walks. They happen every Saturday morning, led by local volunteers. Behind the visitor center, there's plenty of trails that wind up through the pinon, juniper, and ponderosa pines. At the heart of it sits the historic Davey House. This preserved home and studio of painter Randall Davey is open for docent-led tours every Friday. From here, it's just a short hop down the road to the Dale Ball Trails. There's nearly 25 miles of trails in this area, winding through the foothills. And right alongside here is the Santa Fe Canyon Preserve. It's a 525-acre nature conservancy property that was built around the ruins of a Victoria-era dam. It once supplied Santa Fe's drinking water. The old reservoir has since gone wild, and there is a bosque of cottonwood and willows with a pond that draws beavers, frogs, and more than 140 bird species. There is plenty to choose from here and lots of areas to get out and look for wildlife. If you want to get up a little further into the mountains, I recommend a drive up Hyde Park Road. Head up about 8 miles at an elevation of 8,300 feet, you'll find Hyde Memorial State Park. This park has plenty of hiking opportunities for all skill levels and plenty of places to camp, including a few yurts. If you continue up this road, it will take you all the way up to the Santa Fe ski area, and there are several beautiful lookouts along the way. There's also several areas to hike and camp along Tesuque Creek. In the winter, it's a hub for cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, and sledding. The mountains are covered in aspen, and it is glorious to drive this area in the fall. Here at Aspen Vista Picnic Grounds is one of the more popular trails, so if you plan on doing this hike in the fall, you should arrive early. Now, a list of things to do in Santa Fe would not be complete without mentioning the Santa Fe Opera. I'll be honest, I've never been to it myself, but I have seen the venue, and it's absolutely stunning. Open-air theater up in the hills just outside of town. Now, it's open seasonally through the summer, and apparently the real show starts before the show. Tailgating in the parking lot is practically an institution here, with opera goers setting up elaborate picnics in the parking lot. Now, here's a few tips if it's your first time visiting. Santa Fe sits at nearly 7,000 feet in elevation, one of the highest elevations of any city in the country. That altitude means that the sun is more direct, and you can expect bright blue skies, and you will sunburn way faster than you expect. Up here, the air is thinner. You're going to get winded more easily, especially on hikes or even just walking around downtown. If you drive all the way up to the ski area, that elevation is over 10,000 feet. So take it easy on your first day if you're not used to this high elevation. Stay hydrated, wear sunscreen, and if you can, ease into your strenuous activity. You're also going to want to pack layers. Even in the summer, the evenings can be cool. In the high desert, there's a big temperature difference between the heat of the day and the nighttime. Most travelers reach Santa Fe by car, usually coming up from Albuquerque, about an hour away. There's also a small regional airport in Santa Fe if that's convenient for you and you'd rather fly directly in. Another option is the Rail Runner. This is New Mexico's commuter train that connects Santa Fe and Albuquerque. It's mostly built for daily commuters, so the schedule is a bit limited. I personally don't think it's the best choice if you're arriving with luggage from the airport. It's more fit for a day trip or if you're coming into town for a specific event. Parking in the plaza can be tricky. There are a few paid lots around the central area of town. If you're staying at the Inn of the Governors, they do offer free parking for hotel guests. That's a great perk given how centrally located it is. There's a public parking lot just off the plaza on Water Street. There's a parking garage tucked underneath REI in the Railyard District. I often park right over here near the state capitol on Don Gas Bar. It's a nice wide one-way street with angled parking, and the meters are free on Sunday. They are enforced Monday through Saturday until 6 p.m. And there's a big parking garage near the Capitol that sometimes opens up for free parking during big events like the International Folk Art Festival. If you're looking for a public restroom, they can be found on Water Street near the parking lot. I hope you found this video helpful in planning your trip to Santa Fe. I have a whole playlist of other videos from in and around the area. If you're interested in any of those, they'll be listed in the description box below this video. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.